Who shined the brightest? It's the tough question we have to answer each and every week, and this week was no exception. Hi again, everyone. Jody Norstead here for Midco Sports, ready to hand out another game ball presented by Farmers Union Insurance. This one going to the upset of the night on Friday, or should I say the upset by the Knights. I'll let that one simmer for a while. First though, big takeaways from last week's action. How about Shanley making an absolute statement in trumping Cheyenne 42-14 in a top two battle? Great all-around game by the Deacons. Minot, well, they made a statement by shutting out Century. Central with a Cushman Classic upset, and Dickinson winning in a battle of unbeatens. In nine-man, number 1 New Salem Elmont and number 2 Sargent County both proved that they are the real deal with wins over tough region foes. That leads us to this week, where the matchups are oozing with potential. It'll be 1 versus 2 in Class AA, with North hosting South. That's where I'll be. Shiloh Christian and Trinity in a battle of unbeatens, and several great nine-man matchups. Okay, let's get to those top performers. We start in Carrington, where those Cardinals hung up 53 points on Grafton behind their dynamic duo of Josh Bickett and Logan Wenninger. This time it's Bickett getting on our list after passing for 115 yards and a score, and then carrying the ball 15 times for 137 yards and a trio of touchdowns. The junior quarterback and defensive back has been having a tremendous season. Well, this next guy already has a game ball to his name. Fargo North's Peter Haugo, or I guess you could call him King Peter, after he was named Homecoming King this week. He rumbled for 166 yards and 4 touchdowns in the win over St. Mary's. He was a baller on defense too, coming up with a pick 6, so a touchdown for each finger. Next up is a date with second-ranked South. It'll be a packed house on the north side on Friday. Hankinson senior Parker Hubrick didn't need many touches to be a difference maker in Friday's win over Hatton Northwood. 2 rushes, 2 catches, and a combined 187 yards and 2 scores for the Pirate standout. A lot of buzz in Hankinson right now with proud alum Cody Mauk and the Tampa Bay Bucks off to a 2-0 start. Matt Huther of Hettinger County played a key role in helping the Huskies record a big win over Linton HMB Strasburg-Zeeland. Huther found the end zone 3 times, twice on the ground and once through the air. It's a big win for a Huskies team that probably needed it in order to keep their playoff hopes alive. This next one is a double for me. It's the Shanley duo of Jordan Leininger and Sam Oshek. I couldn't take just one, so I put both of them on here for the way they played on both sides of the ball in the Deacons' victory over Cheyenne. Leininger scored on the very first offensive play for Shanley, a trick play that hit for a 70-yard score. He also bulldozed a defender for his second touchdown, 2 catches and 2 scores. He intercepted a pass on defense as well. Meanwhile, Oshek hauled in 6 passes for 161 yards and another score, a deep ball that was thrown perfectly by Landon Meyer. Oshek also added a highlight reel play on defense with a diving interception in the end zone early in the contest. Shanley certainly flexing its muscle at the top of Class 3A. Another team that was flexing, Sargent County, who took down previously unbeaten Wyndmere Lidgerwood 43-6. Luke Martinson's night was one of a handful of great performances for the Bulldogs. The senior did a little bit of everything. He rushed for 66 yards and a score. He hauled in a 76-yard touchdown catch and racked up 5 tackles on defense while quieting the Warbirds' attack. Sargent County is 5-0 for the first time in program history. Hettinger-Scranton picked up a second straight win by defeating Beach 40-6. Maddox Pierce was stellar on both sides of the ball. He rushed for 134 yards and 3 scores. Then on defense, Pierce piled up 10 tackles and added a pick 6. He's averaging about 100 rushing yards per game and has 11 total touchdowns on the year. Well, we raise up the M for our next top performer, Tyson Ruziska. Well, he's becoming a household name Friday nights on Varsity Sports Live. The senior from Minot accounted for about 150 yards and 2 scores, helping the Magi defeat Century by a final of 30-0. He also chipped in on a defensive unit that became the first Minot defense to shut out a Patriots team since 2005. We had a special delivery to the office this week. Shout out to head coach Larry Fontaine for dropping off this Maple River Raiders lid. And good thing he did, because we had to put it to good use after seeing what T. Silling did on Friday. Silling was 8 of 12 passing for 109 yards and a touchdown. He also ran wild for 170 yards and 5 scores in the team's win over Griggs Midco. Shout out to T and shout out to the Raiders. We stay in Region 1 where Lemoore-Litchfield-Marion's Gunnar Thielges continues to crack the list. He might be the biggest Swiss Army knife in the state with ways he can affect the game. 50 yards passing in a score, 100 yards rushing and a touchdown on 19 carries. That's all good, but how about 8 tackles and not 1, but 2 pick sixes in the shutout win over Richland? If he does something similar this week against a tough North Prairie squad, Thielges might be earning himself some hardware. This hardware to be specific. This is week 5 of our game ball selections, and for the second time, it's going to Grand Forks, but to a different team after what the Grand Forks Central Knights accomplished in Friday's Cushman Classic. This one had all the ingredients: a rivalry, a win over a high-ranked team, and you can even throw in a position change. Central senior Jack Simmers made the move from more of a receiver running back to quarterback in the middle of the Jamestown game about a week and a half ago, and then on Friday night, well, that's where he played the whole game, and he led his team to a 30-18 win over the second-ranked team in North Dakota Class 2A. Simmers was efficient through the air, completing 10 of 13 passes for 162 yards and 2 scores. He also rushed for 50 yards and 2 more touchdowns. He's a dude on defense, too. He ended a promising Red River drive with a big interception. Now, this is a young man that was first-team All-State last year. He plays with a toughness that really pops on film. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with Central now the rest of the way, because they just finished playing the top 4 teams in the state in consecutive weeks. Now the opportunity to stack wins is ahead of them. As a program, they haven't won more than 5 games since 2007. There's a good chance that streak ends this year. Plus, they get this week off to re-energize for the second half of the season. No week off for us, though. Varsity Sports Live will be back on the air at 10:30 Friday night with highlights from all over North and South Dakota. We'll see you then.